Tom here and welcome to a new video, and today I'm bringing you my WWE Raw review for the 7th of July 2014, and it seems like WWE is on a bit of a roll at the moment. We've had a couple of really good Monday Night Raws last week, and this week 2 great Monday Night Raws. Now, don't get too excited, this Raw did not top last week's Raw, but was still a very good solid show with some great wrestling. So in this video, I'm going to review the full show and give you my thoughts, analysis, everything like that, and what I thought of this week's Monday Night Raw. So we're going to kick off with what actually happened at the start of Monday Night Raw this week, and it was Roman Reigns brawling with Kane. Now, the Authority were apparently on holiday, on vacation, so we actually got something new to kick off Monday Night Raw. Like last week and the 4 Raws before that, the Authority kicked off Monday Night Raw every single week. It gets boring. We want something organic and unique to kick off Raw once in a while, to get people excited and enthralled in the show. So this week, we actually got something new to start Raw this week. We actually got Roman Reigns cutting a promo and on how Triple H added him to the Battleground WWE World Heavyweight Championship match, and this was pretty much the first time Roman Reigns has been able to cut a promo on his own without being in the Shield, so quite an interesting segment here. Now, it wasn't a particularly great promo, except 2 things he said which were absolutely epic. The crowd chanted Cena sucks, and he was like, when Roman Reigns is in the building, you're damn right Cena sucks. And I was marking out because that was freaking epic. I'm pretty sure that was off script, and it was freaking awesome. I love this Roman Reigns character. He's a babyface, but at the same time, he's going to rip your head off, whether you're a face or a heel. He's just this unique character. He's in his own league. He's not a babyface, he's not a heel, he's just not this generic character of a good or a bad guy. He's in this bracket of his own. If you're a babyface, he's still gonna rip your head off and kill you. I mean, he's a very unique character, and even though John Cena is the biggest babyface in the company, he still rips his head off by saying that. It was a freaking awesome moment. I did not expect him to say that. I was like, whoa, holy shit, you just said that. And then he called Kane Triple H's lapdog, and also Kane was Randy Orton's bitch. So these were immense lines Roman Reigns was coming up with. And this pretty much ended with them brawling into the crowd. And then what happened was there was loads of senior officials coming out. Kane chokeslams one of the senior referees. And then what happens was Roman Reigns punches one of like an agent for the WWE. It was actually Jamie Noble. And then he actually speared Fit Finlay and then Supermanched Kane to end that segment. What an explosive way to start Monday Night Raw this week. I mean, holy shit, that was one of the best segments we have seen on Raw in months. And that started Raw this week. Great segment, 9 out of 10. Then we're going to skip to the main event, which was Cena versus Seth Rollins. A huge blockbuster match on Monday Night Raw this week. The match was good, but the ending was all too predictable. You all knew that John Cena was going to come out looking strong in this match, and maybe Randy Orton or Kane was going to disrupt the match. And that's exactly what happened. Yes, John Cena was just looking like he was going to make Seth Rollins tap out to the STF, which I didn't like. You want to have Seth Rollins, the younger guy, coming out of that match looking the stronger opponent. And also, Seth Rollins didn't even get the win here. John Cena got the win via disqualification. It would have been much better if Seth Rollins maybe even got the win here and Cena put over Seth Rollins. But sadly, Kane makes his way to the ring, attacks John Cena, then Randy Orton attacked John Cena. Then what was cool, Roman Reigns came out, attacked pretty much everybody, and then Seth Rollins hit John Cena with the briefcase. Dean Ambrose came out, and then he stopped Seth Rollins from cashing in. Cena hit an AA on Randy Orton. Then Kane went for the chokeslam on Cena. Reigns hit the spear, and then it ended with John Cena and Roman Reigns in the middle of the ring. A bit of a clusterfuck at the end. I mean, there was way too much that happened for you really to remember. Just the most annoying thing was you all knew that the match was going to end with maybe Kane or Randy Orton coming down. But at the same time, you all knew Seth Rollins was never going to beat John Cena, which would have been so good. It would have proven that when Cena is cashed in on, Seth Rollins is very likely to win that match and become the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. That would have been a very memorable moment for Seth Rollins to pin John Cena and just remind him, you know what, I'm going to beat you for that championship once, and it's going to happen down the line. That would have been a cool moment, but we all knew Kane was going to come down and end the match. I mean, I don't like it when stuff like that, especially in the main event, happens. I want a clean finish to a main event, and it just didn't happen here. The match was good, but we all knew that was going to happen in the end. So I'll give that a 7 out of 10. The Wyatt family defeating the WWE Tag Team Champions was probably the best match of the night, and I'm actually going to give that match a 9 out of 10. Yet again, another Wyatt family versus the Usos match, and it just tops the one at Money in the Bank. An incredible match, and I'm actually going to watch that match again because it was so good, so very good paced. Great spots during the match, just an all-round freaking awesome match. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 because it bloody deserves it. And also, the great positive which comes out of this match is it looks like WWE is heading towards the Wyatt family winning the Tag Team Championships. They should have done it at Money in the Bank, but with them having another win of the Usos here, that does make them the #1 contenders, and it does look like they're actually going to put the belts on the Wyatt family later down the line, probably at Battleground. I'm so excited to see that happen. But a phenomenal match on Monday Night Raw. Now then, we had Damien Sandow confronted Bret Hart. Now, Bret Hart returned to Monday Night Raw. He returned to Montreal in Quebec to just cut a promo. Now, I don't like it when they bring these legends back and they just cut promos. And they don't really have any direction with their promo. It's just the same old thing every time they come back. But they actually had Damien Sandow come here dressed up as Bret Hart. Now, somebody actually said on my Raw preview that this was probably going to happen, and it did happen. Now, this pretty much ended with Bret Hart punching Damien Sandow in the face when he said that Bret Hart's talking wasn't really his #1 thing. He tossed out Damien Sandow with a punch, and then he was like, that was my thing, because he punched him in the face. Now, this was a cool promo, but there's only so many times I can see Bret Hart come back until you're going to get bored with it. I mean, he comes back every time they go into Canada, but there's no real direction when he comes back. There's not really anything new they can do with him. So it was cool they brought Damien Sandow for a segment here, but, I mean, are you still excited of Bret Hart coming back in the WWE now? There's only a few times I can see Bret Hart come back. And Damien Sandow, just release this guy. He's lost all his dignity. He's lost everything. He's never gonna become a main event star anymore. You've just completely ruined this guy. I mean, you might as well just not give him TV time instead of giving him this crappy TV time, which just ruins everything about Sandow. So I'm going to give that segment a 7 out of 10. Sandow, what are you doing? What did Sandow do to deserve this? I come on here every Raw review and say, what are they doing with the Sandow? I mean, you're just ruining this guy. Come on! We want to see this guy pushed. We want to see this guy main event level. It's never going to happen anymore because you've ruined his character. Then Damien Sandow picked up another loss against the United States champion Sheamus. This was pretty much a filler match to keep Sheamus relevant, so we're really not going to talk about that anymore. I'll give this a 5 out of 10. Please, 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 somebody do something with Damien Sandow. Then we actually had a pay-per-view worthy match, which I would have actually paid for. There was actually a few matches on this show I really would have paid for, including Alberto Del Rio versus Ziggler, Orton and Ambrose, of course, and the Usos versus the Wyatt family, and also Cena and Rollins maybe. I would have actually paid for 4 of these matches on Monday Night Raw. They were so good. So, Orton versus Ambrose was obviously a pay-per-view worthy match, and it was actually a solid, great match. What was so good about the match was actually the ending. I thought the last 2 minutes of the match was actually really, really good. There was nice chemistry in the ring, and they actually flowed very well to end the match. What I didn't like, however, was the ending, and Dean Ambrose was actually beaten cleanly. Now, a lot of people said on Twitter that's Ambrose's push gone because he got beat by Orton, but no, not one win means his push is over. No, that doesn't kill his momentum that much. But I do think it was a bit of a problem that they gave Ambrose the loss. He's got so much momentum, but they gave him a clean loss. Does that feel legitimate? That they gave him a clean loss, even though he's got all this momentum? And what are they going to do with this win for Randy Orton? Are they going to push this guy anymore? I think this guy is really just dying out on me. I mean, are they really going to use a win over Ambrose for Orton? Are they going to use this for Orton. I think it would have been much better if they gave Ambrose the win here. They could do a lot more with Ambrose rather than giving the win to Randy Orton. What are they going to use this win for Randy Orton? There's no way in hell he's winning at Battleground, so why even build this guy up for the Battleground match? It would have been much better for Ambrose to win here, but I did actually like the match, and it was a solid match I would have paid to see on a pay-per-view. The start of the match was a bit boring, it was a bit of a snooze fest, but it did actually get going after the first commercial break, so it was a solid match, and I will give it a 7 out of 10. Didn't really like the result. Chris Jericho versus The Miz on paper sounded like a really, really good idea, but at the end of the day, it wasn't that much, it wasn't that great. I mean, it was an okay match, Chris Jericho and The Miz returning to action, which was a great idea to have it happen in Canada, where Chris Jericho comes from. He is Canadian, of course. But this match wasn't that great. I mean, it's a real shame that they bring Miz back as a movie star. They debut his new gimmick, but then he still loses against Chris Jericho. I think the better thing they would have done here was for the Wyatt family to disrupt the match, and that would have given The Miz the win over disqualification. Actually, that wouldn't have given the win. Maybe a distraction, and then that would have given Miz the win. But Miz loses. I mean, why bother debuting a new gimmick? He seems like the man. His rock star kind of movie star gimmick, where he's really, really cocky. Great gimmick. But in his first match after returning using that gimmick, he loses against Chris Jericho. Ugh. Chris Jericho is never losing in Canada, but why do you book The Miz against Chris Jericho if he's going to lose? Surely if you're debuting The Miz as a new character, keep him away from Chris Jericho where he's bound to come out as the loser. Why did they have to book The Miz and Jericho in the first place if they want to debut this new Miz gimmick? Bad idea. Why couldn't they have had Chris Jericho against maybe not Sheamus, just like a top heel in the company, like an Orton, like a Kane? Why did you have to book Miz against Chris Jericho where he was bound to lose in the end? They're supposed to be pushing Miz with his new gimmick, and he loses against Chris Jericho here. So I'll give that a 6 out of 10. But what was cool after the match was we got a bit of a flavour of the promos we're going to get between Jericho and Bray Wyatt. Now, it does seem like that's actually going to be at SummerSlam now. I think they've left it a little bit too late to build that match for Battlegrounds. But we got a bit of a taste of what their promos are going to be like. And Bray Wyatt and Jericho cut two great promos against each other. And I'm really excited to see how that transpires later down the line. Del Rio versus Dolph Ziggler, no matter how many times they do this feud, they always do great matches. I mean, I've never seen a bad Del Rio or Ziggler match. I mean, whenever Del Rio has a match against somebody, or whether Ziggler has a match against somebody, they're always great matches. I've never seen a bad match when these guys are in the ring. And this match was for a #1 contender for the United States Championship. Now, basically, they'd only made this match on main event tomorrow night because the network is actually free. So they want to have a big match to make people interested in testing out the network when it's free. Didn't really make sense why Del Rio and Dolph Ziggler got the opportunity to face Sheamus. It was just a bit of a random match. And there's no chance in hell any of these guys were winning against Sheamus tomorrow night on main event. So it was good that we had a good match. But there's no way in hell that anybody's defeating Sheamus tomorrow night on main event. Now, the match was really good. I'll give it an 8 out of 10 for wrestling. But the ending was when Fandango was dancing on the announce table. Ziggler was distracted, and Del Rio hit a super kick onto Ziggler's face. Now, how many times have we seen this ending in wrestling? We see it about every week. Somebody gets distracted on the announce table or from the announce table, and somebody else gets the win. I mean, how many times do we want to see that ending to a wrestling match? I mean, the match was good, but Del Rio is never winning on main event anyway, so it's a bit of a pointless match in the end. Then we had Rusev against Rob Van Dam, which on paper sounds a really, really good match. I mean, you've got a mixed martial arts big guy who's very athletic like Rusev, and then you've got Rob Van Dam, who is world renowned for his martial arts, and he's a very athletic guy. On paper sounds like a great match. The first minute of this match was very, very good, but then it just went downhill, and in the end just fell flat on its face and didn't really deliver. I'd like to see these guys go head to head maybe on this week's SmackDown or next week's Raw to see what they can do the second time, because the first minute of the match looked like it was really, really good, but then it just didn't deliver in the end. One thing I want to say though is, I think they should make Rusev's finisher the super kick, because His super kick is so bloody explosive and so unique. Have you seen him? He jumps in the air like 5 meters and super kick RVD's face off. I mean, they should really make the super kick Rusev finisher. Maybe it wouldn't suit his kind of gimmick of being this kind of like Russian martial artist. But then yet again, it's a really explosive finisher and is a lot more interesting than the Accolade. The Accolade just kills the crowd. Have you heard the crowd? Every time it gets locked on, you're like, ugh. Rusev wins again. But with the super kick, it comes out of nowhere and looks bloody explosive. Now, this was the first match where I actually thought this would actually, a Rusev match which would actually last a decent amount of time. But you could just tell with the crowd, we're sick of this guy. We're just sick of these squash matches Rusev wins with. I mean, come on, we want a real opponent. A real opponent, come on. We don't want to sit through any more snooze fest matches with Rusev winning. So, then we had Kofi Kingston defeated Cesaro. And Cesaro was just picking loss after loss after loss up. I mean, what are they doing with this guy? I mean, now he gets a second loss against Kofi Kingston. Yes, it was a roll-up, so it wasn't a clean win. But Cesaro's now picked up another loss. I don't know what they're going to do with this win with Kofi Kingston, but Cesaro's got another loss. Now, it does look like they're heading in the way of Big E against Cesaro, so maybe that was why they gave Cesaro the loss here. It was so that Cesaro could attack Kofi and Big E could make the save. Now, I'm interested to see if they go with Cesaro and Big E. Now, Cesaro's in the Battle Royal at Battlegrounds, so maybe they're going to save that for SummerSlam. But Cesaro and Big E sounds like a fantastic feud, and I'd like to see how that goes. Because they're just two young guys, two really strong guys, athletic. It'd be a fantastic feud, and I'd really like to see that at SummerSlam, but another loss for Cesaro, really? The match itself was actually really good, but way too short. I would have liked to see them go for another 5 to 10 minutes more, so I'll give that a 7 out of 10. And one of the most bullshit things which happened on Raw this week was AJ Lee and Paige teaming up. Now, what the hell was that? I have no idea. This was the biggest bullshit match in so many ways. The match sucked. Paige announced AJ Lee instead of the other guy. I can't remember what he's called. But Paige announced AJ Lee from when she was entering. Why are they now suddenly friends? During the match, Cameron was doing a lipstick. Huh? What the hell? The only memorable thing about this match was that the Funkadactyls finally broke up and had a brawl. It was actually quite a physical brawl. They were pushing each other from like the other end of the ring. So they brawled and now they have broken up. And that match might happen at Battleground instead of AJ Lee against Paige. But why the hell are AJ Lee and Paige now friends? I mean, AJ Lee was like one of the biggest WWE heels last year and this year. And now she's friendly with Paige. Has Paige completely forgotten AJ Lee took her Divas Championship off her? I have no idea what the hell they are doing with AJ Lee and Paige. I have no idea. And then for somebody to be doing their lipstick during the match, I mean, this was just the most bullshit thing about the Raw this week. So I'll give that a 1 out of 10. Yes, a 1 out of 10. I have no idea. This was just like opposite land. This was just weird. This is just not wrestling. This was just stupid. Bo Dallas versus El Torito. That was another thing that was just stupid. I mean, Bo Dallas got on his knees to El Torito's height. And it looked like he was being nice to El Torito. And then he ended up just chucking one of Los Matadores into steel steps. Pushing El Torito really physically. And then just hitting the Bo Dog. And he just looked like a badass. He was like, fuck this. And just walked out winning against El Torito. But I'll give that a 3 out of 10. I mean, I really want to see Bo Dallas actually get a feud. A proper feud under his belt. Then Nikki Bella versus Alicia Fox never happened. It was supposed to be a one-arm tie behind the back. But this is building up between Stephanie against the Bella twins, specifically Brie Bella. Now, what probably happened was that actually Stephanie McMahon booked this match and told Alicia Fox to attack Nikki Bella and not let the referee tie her arm behind the back. But what happened was she got soda, Alicia Fox, and poured it on Nikki Bella. Now, we've let Alicia Fox have her time. We've let her have a match against Paige. And the gimmick fell flat on her face. In the end, they spent like a month building up Alicia Fox, and it didn't work in the end. So I'm not really sure why they did this segment, because we've seen Alicia Fox do her thing, and it didn't work. The payoff never happened. She didn't win the Divas title. I think it was Payback. So why are they doing it again? I have no idea. What was the point in this segment? I have no idea. So that's my Raw review. Very good wrestling matches throughout this show, but at the end, the Divas match, the Bo Dallas and El Torito match, the Nikki Bella and Alicia Fox match, the Cesaro loss, the Rusev squash match, the disappointing Jericho and Miz match, the boring alternate Ambrose match before the first segment. Sandow, what are you doing? There was a few negative, quite a lot of negative bits throughout the show, but the positive bits were very positive. So I'm going to give this show a 7 out of 10. I thought it was a decent Raw, a very good Raw, and it seems like WWE are on a roll at the moment with 2 great Monday Night Raws. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10, which is actually a pretty good rating. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you have in fact enjoyed this video. Take care. Spike your head.
If I found a way to be happy every day, if you could just see my face, y'all would see I'm smiling.